Hello everyone, hope you are doing good. Welcome to the next video on my YouTube channel. This is the platform where I come and share my knowledge and experience with you all. So without further delay, let's start the today's topic. So today we are going to talk about a next part in the functional consultant series which I have started long back and I thought to put a next video on this. The last video which we have put on this particular topic was around the design document, and we spoke about the functional design document. Now in today's video we are going to talk about the next design document, which is integration design document, and we are going to talk about that, how it looks. I'm going to show you one example and also talk about some key pointers which you need to keep in mind when you are designing your or you are drafting your integration design document. This is just a quick recap. All these things which we are talking about are part of our requirement gathering process, where we started and talked about the preparing of for the requirement gathering, then gathering the requirements, documenting, getting the sign off, and then going into the design phase and drafting your design document based on the gaps which you have identified using throughout your requirement gathering process. This is quick recap about what is the importance of the design document, why it is required, what are the key things which you need to keep in mind and you need to draft when you are writing any design document, though it is a whether it is a functional design document or it is a integration design document or the report design document. Design documents we have categorized into three parts. One is the functional design document, report design documents, and integration design document. And we have also categorized that on top of it, like once the functional consultant has created or drafted the design document, then the technical team is also going to draft and write a technical design document against that. So the functional consultant is only responsible for drafting the functional design document or report design or integration design document. So now today we are going to talk about the IDD. So the IDD is your integration design document. Now, a few things to keep in mind about the IDD. Thus, our basic framework while drafting the design document remains same, that you need to keep in mind the business process, solution design, security, reporting, data, and integration. The fundamental framework remains same for any design document, but from the integration design document perspective, there are some key important aspects which you need to keep in mind, like what is your integration approach going to be, whether it is going to be synchronous, asynchronous, the API based or data call, what type of or logic app, what type of integration approach you are going to have. Then you also need to understand the source and the target system details, like where the exchange of the data is going to happen. Then you also need to talk about data mapping and the transformation. Now, if you are receiving the data in D365, then what data you are receiving, where you will be using that, how it should get transformed into the convention or the data which you want to capture in D365. The important thing in the integration, you also need to keep in mind about the error handling and the performance of your system. So we are going to talk about this, where you can put all these things in your document, and I'm going to show you one example for that. So now, without further delay, let's see the example which I have prepared for you. It is just an example and also my understanding or just an example which I have prepared for you. Now, based on your organization or your methodology in your organization, this might change, and also depending on the project, you might want to capture some additional information. But this is just to give you the idea about how you can draft it and what are the key things which you need to keep in mind. Now, this is the similar document which we had for the functional design document. And what I have done is that I have highlighted the key changes which I think we can have when we are writing the integration design document. So these sections remain same, that you need to have the document review, sign off, some document references, Azure DevOps reference or any other document. Talk about abbreviations which you have it, have a table of content where all the details has been identified and listed here. Then the first section, if you remember, was more focused on the introduction, defining the scope, idea about this objective of this particular document and why we are writing this document. Now most of the things remain same here, except one thing which I have added, highlighted in the red, is the integration approach and the system details. So I feel like it is worth adding some information around what is our integration approach going to be and what are the systems which are going to talk in this particular integration. Apart from that, rest of the things remain same. You can add this. The next thing is about the non-functional requirement, where you should definitely add the performance. So what happens is that when you are receiving the data from the other system or you are sending out the data, you might have a significant performance impact, because over the period of time the volume of the data is going to be increased, or on a daily basis when you are receiving this data, you might receive high data volume, which might impact your day-to-day transactions which you are having in the system. So you need to keep in mind and also define some performance requirement and draft it very clearly. Now the second part of this document is the design part, where in the overview of the design I have added 4 sections here. And in the 4 sections, what I want to talk about is that you should also put a high level process of the data flow in this particular integration. So like how the data is going to flow from third-party application. If there is a middleware you are using, you should highlight that from there how the data is going to flow to that particular application, and then how it is going to land into D365, or a vice versa if you are sending the information from D365 to the other application. You also should talk about the trigger points for the integration, that when the integration is going to be triggered. So if you are receiving the data, then what is the trigger point, how you are going to receive it, and how you are going to process that particular data which you have received. Then the scheduling and the frequency, that how the data is going to be processed. Is it going to be daily, or it is going to be hourly, or what type of scheduling and the frequency you are going to have for this. You also might want to talk about the data archiving process, where if the data is being stored in D365, some staging table or some places, now how you are going to archive that data, because if you have a huge volume, it might start impacting your performance in the system. So that is the first part about your the design. The next part, which is your data mapping and the transformation, which is very crucial in the integration design document. You need to define that what is the mapping of the data fields which you are going to receive or you are going to send with the source and the target system. So this is just an example. You might have more information around this, but it is just to give you an idea that what it will capture. So you are going to have the source field, which is, let's say you are having the invoice data. So let's say it is called as invoice number or something, and then what is the type of the field, and then what is the target field where you are going to use or process this particular field, and what's the field type. It's a date field or number, text, what is the type. You might also want to, depending on the type, you might also want to add the field length and other details about that. Is it a mandatory field or not, so that you can define your business logic later on, that if it is a mandatory field and if it is not received, then you are going to throw the error message, or you are not going to process that particular transaction. Then you can also specify the navigation about that target field which you have specified, that in the system where it is going to be used, or which form it is where it is going to be stored in D365. Then you also can specify the business logic, if any, for any of these fields. So let's say if there is any lookup, let's say if data has come and I want to update the status, so what are the values in that field, like it is a new, processed, posted, or something, or some calculation. Let's say I have received the data but I want to have some calculation, I want to use this as an input and update some other field, or this field will be updated based on the previously imported field or the other field which I have it. So if you have got any business logic around this particular field, you can define it in this particular column. And then you can have the some field formatting which you can define it here, and then you can also have some remarks which you can add in this particular table. But it is just an example. You might have more fields and more details to be added, but the key idea about this particular table and this section is that you need to keep in mind that how you are going to define your data mapping and the transformation rule of for the data which you are receiving out or you are sending out possibly, and then how you are going to process that. What are the key things which you want to capture here? Now once that is done, rest of the sections, next sections remain same. You talk about some interface changes. So if you want to capture some parameters or something, you can define in this. You can define some business rules if there are some business rules you want to talk about in the integration process, and we had this section for the functional design document as well. You can define related to the security and if there is any impact on the workflow reporting and the data entity changes which we need to define. So we can define all those things. The next key thing which I want to talk about in the integration, which I feel in my experience many times we miss out this, is the error handling. Now the error handling is, in my opinion, is a very critical aspect for the integrations. And here you need to keep in mind that you clearly define the different types of errors or the exceptions which you might have it and how you are going to manage them. You need to have a very clear error messaging information that if I have received this particular exception, what is the error message I'm going to show. It should not be a very simple that can't process your data or contact your system admin or something. Right, there has to be a proper error message which can be understood by any business person who is looking into this. And then also you need to talk about the notification framework for the error message. So if I have received any error message, whom I'm going to notify and how I'm going to notify, so that if there is some action which needs to be performed by a business person, that person can receive that notification and come here and perform that particular action on this particular data. So the error handling is very, very critical for the integration. Apart from that, you need to have the functional testing, define your test cases properly so that you can, when you are validating this particular integration, you can validate this properly and then have a proper testing around that. So that's it for this particular video. I hope this helps you to understand the integration design document. What are the key component which you need to keep in mind when you are designing the document. As I earlier said that this is a simple format which I have created for this video purpose. You might have your own format from your organization depending on the methodology and the process you are following. But yes, you can improve this document. You can have different opinion about this. But yeah, there are some key things which I wanted to highlight and which I wanted to talk about, and also talk about that as a functional consultant, you are responsible for drafting this document, and you need to work on this and define a clear define or create a clear document for the integration design. That's it. Thank you for watching this video. See you in the next one.